Get that Celtic ass. I like that.
Big game.
What's Celtic?
Go ahead, big game.
Stuck it on Celtic. Show it again. Celtic. Get your ass up, boy. Get your ass. I stuck it on you and I got a cigar in your face. Get up, young fella. Get up, Celtic.
Clip it, Kalo.
He
I
had
need
no
that
hops.
for the gram.
He had no hops at all. I saw him under there and I said, I'm getting ready to stick it on his ass, Rob. Wake your ass up. We got that Laker ass tonight. You want some of this cigar, boy? Huh? Sorry, Celtic.
Laker Nation. Nothing like beating the Boston Celtics, man. I mean, nothing. That Celtic ass, baby. Yeah, boy. Give him a little worthy clap, man. Yes, sir. Welcome to the Lake Show. I'm your host, Tony. The Lakers win 117-102 behind the infectious energy of Russell Westbrook. LBJ setting the tone offensively. The Lakers defense clamping up the Celtics after the first quarter. Before I get into recapping this game and my thoughts, if it's your first time to this channel and you're looking for a different flavor of Laker content on the tube and you value objectivity and unbiased content, you're in the right place. Consider subscribing. And for those who are already subbed, swoosh that notification bell to get alerts when I drop videos. And Laker fam, show a brother some love. Swoosh that like button so that my videos can get out to more of Laker Nation and we can build more of a Laker community on YouTube. Now let's break down this game, Laker Nation. In the first quarter, Jason Tatum starting off this game hot versus the Los Angeles Lakers, hitting a left corner three over Anthony Davis, then follows that up, hitting a three over the smaller defender in Russell Westbrook. You know, Tatum is so smooth offensively. Has some of that T-Mac, Allen Houston / Latrell Sprewell type of mixture to his game, man. The kid gets buckets, definitely working out with Kobe on his footwork, has definitely paid dividends to his game, man. Now he has more in his bag to operate. But he started off the game 4 for 4 from the field with 14 points. And I didn't like how Coach Vogel started out with the 3-guard rotation of Russ, THT, and Bradley, man. That's a lineup that should never be, especially with LeBron James back. There's really no excuse. You need a bigger wing in there. And the Lakers should have started out with 2 bigs, but it is what it is. They didn't start this game out well. And so the Lakers got, the last matchup, they got out-rebounded by the Celtics. They got beat up in the paint. But Lakers were down as much as 8 or 10, I believe, this game. Then they went on a 7-0 run behind LBJ as the Celtics were, daring Russell Westbrook to shoot from 3. They were loading up on AD inside, forcing the ball out of his hands. But, the Lakers were able to get stops, and they were able to get out in transition after LBJ was hitting some threes and some shots from the mid-range. Around the 4+ minute mark, the Lakers' energy changed due to them getting out in transition, after causing turnovers. LBJ had like 16 points in the first quarter to help the Lakers to keep them in this game earlier on because Jason Tatum was just lighting them up like a Christmas tree, man. But I thought AD, played passively in the beginning of this game. Horford sunned him. I think it was around the 4 or 5 minute mark, somewhere around there in the first quarter. He just took the ball right from AD when AD was trying to face up and go past him. He just sunned him. AD has to put his mark on the game early, Laker Nation. He has to put his mark on the game early. He has to. And I thought he didn't, assert himself well, and he didn't relocate on the defensive end, loading as the defense was loading up on him on one side. When the defense does that, he has to be able to learn how to relocate and reposition and pass out and then repost. And he has a hard time in doing that, staying in one spot, making him easier to defend. He has to also learn how to battle inside for positioning and how to, like I said earlier, relocate. He doesn't take it, so that he doesn't take himself out of the game and take himself out of being able to dominate. He's too skilled to be passive, and that's why he can't be the number one option, in my opinion, Laker Nation, on the championship team. I don't see AD as that guy, man. I've been saying that, and it's with all due respect. Got love for the brother, but I got to keep it objective, unbiased on this channel. That's what I gear my content off of. And so, he's a Batman, or he's a Robin to a Batman, rather. And you're going to need to find a guy who could be that Batman because he's a great number 2. That's all he is on the championship team. So, like I said, and I posed this question, and I'll pose this question on to you guys. I posted on Twitter to people and in spaces, Laker spaces and basketball talk. I do not trust AD to lead this franchise past LeBron James' era with the Lakers. Maybe you guys do. Let me know. Sound off in the comment section. Let me know. Do you guys trust Anthony Davis as the main guy, post LeBron era, to lead this franchise. I do not, because he does not have that dog in him. So let me know in the comment section down below, and I look forward to you guys' thoughts on that. Lakers had 5 turnovers and scored 18 points in the paint, but they trailed going into the second quarter down 33-31. I thought the Lakers did a poor job in the beginning of this game moving the ball. Very little ball movement, too much ISO ball, and not enough spacing, which caused early turnovers and allowed Jason Tatum to get into a rhythm. And one of the Laker fans on Twitter, that's a follower of me, I believe B-Rad, he goes by the name of B-Rad or something like that. If the cat is listening to this recap, or happens to listen to this recap, my bad butchering your name, but you know who you are. He mentioned to me that on Backstage Lakers, on an episode, that David Fizdale was mentioned as the offensive coordinator. I'm not seeing a goddamn thing in regards to offensive nuance, because they ain't running shit. And they got to start better, man. They got to start better. And that's been a major issue in Achilles' heel of the Lakers starting off games bad. They got to start better. And when they start better, they're going to end better. So, fortunately, most of the time, but they, where they improved that was their defense in the after the second quarter, late in the second quarter, and then going into the second half. That's where they shifted, because third quarters have been their Achilles heel as well. So starting out games in third quarter have been their major Achilles heels for the Lakers. And so they didn't start out as well. They ended the first quarter stronger, and then they played much better defense in the second half. But the second quarter, man, Robin Williams was outplaying Anthony Davis. He had 11 points, and AD had 7 in the first half, Laker Nation. That cannot be allowed if AD is allegedly a top 5 player and a superstar, as many like to say or coin him as, which he isn't. He's been in the 7 to 10 range for the last couple of years, but my definition of a superstar player, because it's a loosely used term in the media and on social media, and I don't like to talk about conversations unless cats have definitions and parameters in place, man, because you can't filter a conversation. It's not objective. You're just making shit up, and that's what I call barbershop talk. I'm not interested in that. I'm interested in substantive talk. And so, for me, how I define a superstar player is a cat that can lead his team as the main guy, 50 to 60 wins in the playoffs, has an MVP or a Finals MVP under his belt, and is top at his position. And AD has only led his team into the second round against the Golden State Warriors after defeating the Blazers, third seed, a few years ago. So he has superstar impact, but he doesn't have the it factor. He doesn't have the mentality to be a number one. And so that's why, I don't trust AD, man, in terms of having the keys handed down to him post LeBron James era. Laker Nation, let me know your thoughts on that. I posed that question to Laker fans in spaces that I've been a part of on Twitter and on Twitter overall. And some of them, it's halfway, man. They don't trust AD to be the main guy and to build around him after post LeBron James era. And for me, I would rather get that number one guy, that guy that has the it factor, that guy that has the mentality to dominate. AD is a great number 2 in my opinion, but Williams out hustled him, man. AD had 5 shot attempts. He has to demand the ball and be more aggressive to get his. He don't got it, Laker Nation. Like I said, he's too passive. He ain't that guy. I've been saying that he's a Robin to a Batman. Y'all will continue to see, man, as time goes on. And Williams, though, had, although he only had 11 points, he started off the first half of this game with nice lob finishes on pick and roll, man, attacking the rim. Tatum had a miss, and he got dunked on. AD got embarrassed on a lob dunk as well, and then he got dunked in as well on a tip miss dunk. Tip miss by Tatum, rather. A miss, and then he had a tip dunk. But Lakers had 10 plus turnovers and sent the Celtics to the line about 12 times, and the Celtics, I believe they converted 10 of 12 in the first half. That's what kept them in the game, along with the Lakers' 10 turnovers. I thought Russ did a decent job on Jason Tatum in the second quarter, down the stretch, forcing him into tough contested shots, bodying him up. Although Jason Tatum had the size advantage, Russ was getting into him as he was putting the ball on the floor, which was forcing Jason Tatum to take long contested jump shots with Russ on him. And that kind of cooled off Jason Tatum a little bit, just for that effort by Russell Westbrook defensively getting into him, although he lacked, the height advantage. And while he was cooling off, Robert Williams III was, being active and making things happen for the Celtics, along with Josh Richardson, who had 11 points for the Celtics. The Lakers shot 55% from the field, mostly with Carmelo Anthony scoring off the bench, which he's always going to provide instant offense, man, with 8 points. I believe then LBJ was cooking in the first half and ending with 18 points in the first half. Lakers were able to get out in transition, get to the rim, and scored 28 points in the paint. Lakers ended the quarter on a Russell Westbrook layup dish from LeBron James. As he was getting doubled, he was able to find him in the post, and then They went up into the third quarter, I believe, by 60-55. And what kept the Celtics in the game, like I mentioned earlier, was the Lakers' 10 turnovers and the Celtics going to the line. 12 times they converted 10 of 12 from the free throw line. So that's going to keep any team in the game, especially when you turn over the ball and send them to the line. Tatum with 21 points, LBJ with 18 points in the first half. Both were putting on a scoring clinic. It was a show to see for sure, Laker Nation. Thought the Lakers' energy changed once Tatum, was on the bench for the Celtics, and they didn't have Jaylen Brown, so that scoring punch needed to carry the load while Tatum rests, man, it wasn't there. So that obviously was a benefit to the Lakers, and they were able to capitalize off of that. Lakers started off the third quarter strong with a 9-point lead, 66-57. The Lakers' defense was tremendous, Laker Nation. Russ's energy on Jason Tatum was infectious. He helped elevate the level of play for the Lakers. And as they got on the break, things started to fall for the Lakers offensively as they were up by 13, 75-62. Russ held Tatum scoreless for about 6+ minutes of the third quarter, I believe. A key to this win was Lakers increasing the pace, after stops, not just pushing to push. They do that a lot. What's the point of pushing if you're not going to get stops, man? They already know how you guys want to play. But some of the best overall basketball we've seen as they went on an 11-2 run in the third quarter, early in the third quarter. And then Russ was on a tear, man, in the third quarter. Russ was able to get to the rim at a will. The Celtics had no answer for him. Russ had 14 points in the third quarter. Where are the Russ haters at now, man? Nowhere to be found. But they always want to chirp when, he's going to do bad. Scapegoating him for Laker problems, as always. It's pitiful, man. It really is. They did the same shit with Kuz, Lonzo, etc. They always do that, man. They always find another person. That the common denominator between that is LeBron James led teams. It's always somebody else's fault other than LeBron James. You know what I'm saying? Like, it just seems to be a theme when he's playing for on any team. It was with the Cavs, whether it's Kevin Love, Chris Bosh, etc. And the list goes on, man. And now, obviously, it's with Russell Westbrook. It's never LeBron James' fault. And I find that very, very interesting. Very interesting. But, Russ was the main reason the Lakers had the lead and was playing some of their best basketball on both ends. It even impacted Anthony Davis, who started to score on the inside as he was playing more aggressive as opposed to playing passive in the first half with only 7 points into the third quarter with 15 points. This is why I didn't mind the Lakers acquiring Russell Westbrook, even though he has a massive contract, because I believe his energy can elevate the Lakers, particularly Anthony Davis, and fuel him. And then LBJ and overall the Lakers, the entire Lakers roster. That's the kind of energy he has. It's infectious. It could really, just on dunks and things along that he does, could really elevate the crowd, get guys going. And that's the type of player Russell Westbrook is, a high energy player, high motor player that could really transfer over to his teammates. So don't sleep on Russ, Laker Nation. Don't sleep on him. Lakers outscored Boston in the third quarter, 31-20. Beautiful thing was it was dictated solely by the defensive end, man. The Lakers are playing defense, Laker Nation. Which has been lacking most of the games, man. It's been terrible to fucking watch, but they finally played some goddamn defense, and look what it's resulted in, right? But Lakers go up into the fourth quarter, 91-75. Bron with 26 points, Russ with 24 points, AD with 15 points. And then the fourth quarter, man, the Lakers continued with great defense, great energy in the fourth quarter. When they decide to bring effort, energy, and play with heart, man, they give themselves a legit shot to win any basketball game and perhaps an NBA championship. We'll see. We'll see. It'll be one of the greatest fucking turnarounds ever if the Lakers are able to flip on the switch like that. I'm skeptical of that, but we'll see. It's not out of the realm of possibility. But overall, the defense and the team win for the Lakers was great this game, man. The Celtics did make a run down the stretch. They got to within 10 points when Vogel subbed out the big three around the 2+ minute mark. The Celtics bench went on an 8-0 run or so. And then Lakers, for no reason, started to jack up shots. THT with stupid shots early in the shot clock. Vogel was smart to call a timeout and have the guys regroup. And then from there on out, they were able to close the game. And shout out to Russell Westbrook, man. Tatum wasn't the same after the first half, especially when, the defense is focused on him. And without Jaylen Brown playing, taking that scoring load off him, the Lakers were able to load up on him. And he was obviously having more responsibility to score the basketball to keep the Celtics in his game. But the Celtics lack playmaking, as Tatum has to create a lot and use a lot of energy, whereas having a point guard that can distribute for him, taking, the load off can help alleviate the pressure for Jason Tatum and can preserve him. And thus that can make him more lethal, especially down the stretches of games, man, especially in the playoffs where he isn't as tired for exerting all that energy, playmaking, and creating offense. The Celtics, they lack a playmaking issue, a true playmaker, which we already know with all due respect, Dennis Schroeder isn't that type of guy, man. We already know that. I've been saying that since, the Hawk days, and I've said that when the Lakers acquired him. I was never high on Dennis Schroeder, for those who followed me on Twitter. Link will be in the description if you guys want to interact. Give your boy a follow. Love talking Lakers basketball and basketball overall, man. But that was and will be to the Celtics' detriment, not having playmaking. The Celtics, like I said, they're lacking that. So I think someone like a Ben Simmons will be phenomenal for them if they're able to get him. Get that playmaker, somebody like that could really unlock that team. But enough Celtic talk, Laker Nation. This is the best the Lakers have looked, fam. And this is the third or so, I believe, game, maybe even a second game that the Big Three has all played together up to the part of the season. And the Lakers are 6 in the West, I believe. They are 13-12 after tonight's victory versus the Celtics. And there are 3 or so games below the 4th spot in the West, Laker Nation. Put that into perspective. This is why we shouldn't panic despite all the fuck-ups. They're still in good shape. They're still in a good place. Even though they even haven't played up to their potential and scratched the surface yet, Laker Nation. This team could be very, very good. And they could be way better, but it's up to them, man. They're figuring it out. And defense has to be their identity. And from that, getting out on the break, they have to run selectively on only stops. And the young, especially when the youngins are in, that's when they should be running and increasing tempo. But with all the old heads in, man, they should not be running. They should play selectively in the aspect of running and play more in the half court and then play inside out. The Lakers should be a bruising team on the inside, man. That's their identity. The Lakers lack identity right now. The players don't have defined player roles, and there's no offensive nuance, and that's their main issue right now. And that's why the Lakers are not, they're not where they're supposed to be at. Coach Vogel has to play to these guys' strengths and, have guys play with energy, effort, and heart. And that comes in the players. That's not on a Frank Vogel thing, man. Because if you have to motivate guys at this stage of their career, man, they shouldn't be an A. It's as simple as that. But they have to play that on both ends, and they'll be fine. But, look at the Laker haters, man. They mad now. They mad now, man. They praying on the downfall of the Lakers. It is what it is, though. But, we come back. That's what we is. That's what we do. 12-9-7, man. Fastest team to be down in the dumps to go to championship. No other team has done it better than us in that aspect, man. In terms of being down in the dumps in major droughts and then winning a championship. Not even the Celtics, even though they have better, they have more, not better rather, but more championships than us historically as of up to now. So, these boys will get better as the season goes on. Best believe, Laker Nation. I said around 25 or more games, they'll find their groove. We 25 games in, man. We 25 games in already, and they're looking better. So I said that on my preview with Dime Dropper. Check it out. I said that the Lakers 25 games in or more, certainly by halfway of the season, they would be better. So this could be it. This could be the breakout game. We'll see how it goes, and they're starting to look better. But the Big Three hasn't played as much as well, so take that into account, plus injuries, etc. But look where they're at. They're not even that bad, even though they're at their worst. They're still not even that terrible. They're still in the playoffs, and they're still 3 games behind the 4th spot. So again, let that marinate. Team stats: the Lakers had they held Boston, I believe, to 102 points, the second best rated offense in the NBA over the past 10 games. The Lakers held them to 102 points on 44% shooting from the field. And obviously, Jaylen Brown didn't play, but still, the Celtics are pretty good, or have been a good offensive team. But that Lakers defense, man, that was on point tonight. It was on point tonight, man. I gotta clap for that because we haven't been seeing Laker defense for quite some time, man. Especially led by Vogel, who obviously is a defensive guru. So it's finally a good thing to see the Lakers play some defense and actually give a shit. But Lakers destroyed the Celtics with 66 points in the paint, and they shot overall from the field 53%, and they outboarded the Celtics 51-34. That's how you play to your strengths, Laker Nation. That's how you play to your strengths. Love to see it. You love to see it, man. Two key differences from the game. The first game where the Celtics beat the Lakers at the Boston Garden. And in the first meeting at the Boston Garden, the Celtics out-rebounded them, especially on the offensive end, man. And they were just beating the Lakers in the points. They were beating them like they were the bigger team, and they weren't in the first meeting. But this game was flipped around, and the Lakers played to their advantage, being that they're an inside team and using their size and defense, which is part of their identity. So they should take this game, and it should be a blueprint for moving here on out, man. But Lakers had 25 points off of the Celtics, 13 turnovers, getting out in transition, attacking the cup. That's what resulted in this Lakers victory. You notice their defense, their stretches on defense is geared on them scoring at the rim. Whether it's an energized dunk, that Russell Westbrook has, Malik Monk, or even Carmelo Anthony hitting his shots in three to the dome, man. But after Russ had that dunk on Josh Richardson, the Lakers were ignited defensively and offensively overall. Things kind of changed after that. But let's get to the player stats. The big three, Bron, AD, Russ, combined for a grand total of 71 points. Bron with 30 points, 5 assists. And, you love that Bron, man, was in attack mode. You have to love it. Russ handled more, which that's what I've been saying. Just let Russ handle more, and Bron should be, looking to attack the cup, to play more in the post. And speaking of Russ, he had 24 points, 11 assists. His energy changed the dynamic of this game and was crucial for the Lakers' win. And that's why I love Russ, man. His energy can nullify issues, propel a team to play at their best, as it did this game versus the Celtics. AD with 17 points, 16 rebounds. Despite him playing soft in the beginning, being passive to start this game, he did control the glass and got big when the momentum was on, man, for the Lakers. AD needs to start off strong and demand the ball. There's no way that Al Horford should be cut loose, man, on defending AD. AD should take him off the dribble, and use his height to score on him. Especially with that skill, the skill set that Anthony Davis has. And Horford is on the decline. There's no way that he should be allowed to rest while defending AD, man. AD should be asking for the ball all the time, every possession, and cooking him. So that's what I mean by not having the it factor, man. Because if you're a great player and you're a quote unquote superstar player, you gonna smell blood and attack it, man. That's what great players do. But THT with 12 points and 6 rebounds. Malik Monk and Carmelo Anthony had 10 and 9 points off the bench, respectively, for the Lakers. All right, Laker Nation, it's a wrap. Get up in the comment section. Share your thoughts on this game. Lakers got, a big win versus a longtime rival in the Celtics, man. That Celtic ass, baby. Yeah, that Celtic ass. Oh, man, but, they got Memphis next. So, got to keep Ja out the paint, man. Not allow Jaren Jackson Jr. to hit, shots and killing the paint off of pick and roll as well. So they got to keep that team out of the paint and just control the tempo, man, and limit our turnovers and play to the strengths, and they'll be fine versus Memphis next game. Comment, like, share, and subscribe. I'll catch you guys in the next video. That sleep gonna hit different tonight, Laker Nation. Peace out.